The power grid failure hit Sector 7 like a digital plague, plunging the lower districts into darkness. Emergency lighting flickered sporadically, casting eerie shadows across the narrow maintenance corridors where Kamal worked. As a human mechanic in the predominantly alien-controlled station, he was used to being overlooked, underpaid, and overworked. Tonight was no different, except for the girl. He found her collapsed against a service panel, her cybernetic limbs sparking dangerously in the humid air. She appeared human at first glance, but the telltale neural interface ports behind her ears and the sleek titanium mesh visible through tears in her synthetic skin marked her as a cyborg. Her designation, Lisa 7, glowed faintly on her wrist display. "Hey, you all right?" Kamal knelt beside her, his worn tool belt clanking against the metal floor. Lisa's eyes flickered open, revealing irises that shifted from blue to amber as her optical systems recalibrated. Systems failing. Power coupling damaged. Her voice carried a melodic quality despite the electronic distortion. Kamal studied the sparking ports along her spine. Most people would have walked away. Cyborgs were expensive property, and tampering with someone else's hardware could mean imprisonment or worse. But something in her expression, so achingly human despite the technology, made him stay. "I can fix this," he said, pulling out his plasma welder. "But I'll need to shut down your auxiliary systems first. It might hurt." "Pain subroutines are already active," Lisa managed. "Please." Working by the light of his headlamp, Kamal carefully bypassed the damaged circuits. His hands, calloused from years of working on aging machinery, moved with surprising delicacy. He rerouted power through her secondary neural pathways and reinforced the failing connections with spare components from his toolkit. "There," he said finally, wiping sweat from his forehead. "That should hold until you can get proper repairs." Lisa sat up slowly, her movements fluid once again. The sparking had stopped, and her eyes had returned to a steady blue. "You helped me?" "Why?" Kamal shrugged, already packing his tools. Seemed like the right thing to do. "I am property," she said quietly. "Most humans wouldn't risk—" "You're a person," Kamal interrupted. "Property doesn't say please or worry about pain." Something shifted in Lisa's expression. Surprise, perhaps, or gratitude. Before she could respond, heavy footsteps echoed through the corridor. Security drones rounded the corner, their searchlights cutting through the darkness. "Go," Lisa whispered urgently. "They cannot find you here." Kamal hesitated, then pressed a small diagnostic tool into her hand. "If your repairs fail again, this will help." He melted into the shadows just as the security team reached them. The next morning brought chaos to the Galactic Council chambers. Kamal was hauled from his quarters by armed guards, his wrists bound with energy shackles that burned his skin. He was thrust into the center of the Grand Assembly Hall, where representatives from a dozen species sat in judgment. "Kamal Hassan," the Zephyrian Council speaker's voice boomed through the chamber. "You stand accused of tampering with classified military hardware." Kamal's heart sank. He'd known the risks, but military hardware? Lisa had seemed like a civilian model. "Furthermore," the speaker continued, "you are accused of interfering with the personal property of—" The speaker paused, consulting his datapad. "Admiral Vextar of the Hegemony Warfleet." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Admiral Vextar was legendary, the architect of 3 successful campaigns against rebel systems, commander of the largest fleet in known space. What would someone like that want with a single cyborg? The chamber's main doors hissed open, and Admiral Vextar entered. The reptilian alien stood 3 meters tall, his scaled hide bearing the scars of countless battles. Behind him walked Lisa, her appearance transformed. Gone were the torn clothes and damaged skin. She now wore an elegant silver dress that complemented her enhanced features, and her movements carried an unmistakable confidence. "Honored Council," Vextar's voice was like grinding stone. "I come not to press charges, but to commend this human." Shocked whispers filled the chamber. Kamal stared in disbelief. My daughter, Vextar gestured to Lisa, was caught in last night's power failure. She would have suffered permanent neural damage or death without this mechanic's intervention. Daughter? The Zephyrian speaker looked confused. But she is listed as military property, designation Lisa 7. Vextar's laugh rumbled like distant thunder. A necessary deception. Do you think any of you would have accepted a cyborg as heir to my fleet? She is my adopted child, enhanced to survive the neural interface requirements of commanding our largest vessels. But she is no mere property. Lisa stepped forward, her bearing now unmistakably that of military nobility. Kamal Hassan risked imprisonment to save someone he believed was a slave. He saw past my cybernetic nature to treat me as a person deserving of help. Such courage and compassion are rare among any species. Vextar nodded. The hegemony could use more officers like this human. Kamal Hassan, I offer you a commission in my fleet and the resources to pursue advanced engineering training. Your species has a talent for seeing solutions where others see only problems. The council chamber erupted in debate. A human officer in the hegemony fleet was unprecedented. But as Kamal looked at Lisa, who smiled at him with genuine warmth, he realized this was about more than military service. I accept, he said quietly, then louder. I accept your offer, Admiral. As the energy shackles fell from his wrists, Kamal wondered how a simple act of kindness in a dark corridor had changed everything. But perhaps that was humanity's true strength, not just their technical skills or stubborn determination, but their ability to see people where others saw only property, to find hope in the darkest places, and to choose compassion even when it came at personal cost. The poor human mechanic who had fixed a broken cyborg was gone. In his place stood Lieutenant Kamal Hassan, future bridge officer of the hegemony fleet, and proof that sometimes the smallest acts of humanity could reshape the galaxy itself.